Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author, and we are here to talk about the stock market. We got some very big news out of Tesla and Hertz, and some very big news out of PayPal and Pinterest. So let's go ahead and jump into both of these stories, do a high-level overview of what's going on, what I did tell you in advance, because I do be telling y'all. I be telling y'all. Some of y'all listen, some of y'all don't. So we're gonna get into Tesla first, and then we'll get into the PayPal thing later. So. This is also an earnings week. I think Wednesday is one of the busiest days. I know that Microsoft reports this week as well as Visa, so maybe we'll look at those. If you got a company that you want me to look into and break down or do a versus episode, feel free to put that in the comments and we'll look at that as it comes out this week. All right, let's go ahead and get started with Tesla. They hit $1 trillion in market cap. Market cap is short for market capitalization. You basically get that number by taking the current share price times the number of shares outstanding. So how many shares you got times the price of those shares. Do you have $1 trillion? Yes or no? There are only a handful of companies who have ever done this, and a handful of companies that are currently at this right now. And these are a lot of the suspects you would think. So you got Tesla, you got Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and Alphabet, which is Google. Those are the only $1 trillion companies. And that's pretty much it, at least in the US. And that's it. So it's a very significant number, one that is astounding because, again, you really didn't start to see this until earlier this year. I think it was Microsoft that hit it for the first time ever. So that just shows you how crazy the market has been, even though Tesla has been all over the place because of what's been going on. But it's great news for Tesla for a few reasons. I'll tell you why it hit $1 trillion today as well. I also told you, I did tell y'all about Tesla now. Now, that's not the biggest, most genius claim in the world, but I'll give you some news and notes here in a second. So first, one of the reasons that spurred this growth was because of a deal with Hertz rental car. They said that they are buying 100,000 vehicles for their fleet, and they're marketing with Tom Brady on really getting out there in front of this EV wave, which is smart on their part. Interesting thing is, around this time last year, really last summer, Hertz was damn near bankrupt and they were barely keeping their site open. But hey, they were a meme stock. They've apparently come out of that, and they had got enough money to buy 100,000 Teslas. I think it's a Model S, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me about what model it is. However, this is huge for Tesla. I think it's more than $4 billion in revenue that is going to come to Tesla because of this. Again, great news for Tesla. I believe they've been reporting a few consecutive quarters in the green, or really in the black is what they call it. But they have been making money. They have been profitable, which is relatively new for them. They had not hit their first profitable quarter, or profitable year rather, until about last year, if I'm not mistaken. We can go back and double check that in a few minutes. But this is great news for Tesla. I'm not really concerned about Hertz at all. They can do whatever they do. I really could care less. But we have Tesla at $1 trillion value. Now, the reason why I say, hey, I did tell y'all about this was because of last year. There's actually a video. I'll put a picture right around here. We'll see if I can edit that in. But last year I did a video about Tesla when they announced their stock split in August of 2020. And I told y'all back then, feel free to go watch that video. It only has 24 views, so it needs some help. Warning, it is not the same quality we have here. We have evolved within the last year. But all that aside, we do know that at that point in time, we had taken market data. Apple had also announced a stock split at that time, and we knew that within a year or so, those companies that tend to do splits tend to do better than the market. And I said back then, because I don't think I was investing at that point in time in Tesla, because they were not profitable and had not proven to be profitable just yet. I said that, look, if they do a stock split, which they did, and if they are joining the S&P 500, that was going to be the catalyst for me to invest in the company and to really put a lot of money behind it. And they did, and the stock dropped. Yes, it actually dropped first, and then it took off to where we see it today. So if you go back, I think it was, I did a TikTok on this as well. TikTok channel needs some help. But went back and did a video on this. I think it was August 31st. Tesla was at like $440 some odd dollars a share. By September 8th, it had fallen to $330 a share. So you lost about $100 and some change between the end of August and that first week or so of September at $330 a share. That was it. This last time you would have got Tesla at that price. After that, it took off to where it is today at above $1,000. There you go. There you go. So I said my biggest thing is if it's added to the S&P 500, which it was, all these index funds are going to have to buy shares of Tesla to represent what is now in the S&P 500. And this is one of the reasons, in addition to Hertz, in addition to their profitable cores, in addition to them navigating the chip shortage better than Ford, better than GM, and better than others. All this is pushing the stock forward and will continue to push the stock forward until further notice. Now, your question might be, well, should I buy Tesla now? I don't know. I would have, if you was going to get it, I told you when I got it. So, decision should have been made, which is why you want to like and subscribe and do all those things. But on a more serious note, you really got to evaluate it because the weaknesses of Tesla are still the case. Elon Musk can be a great leader, as we can see now. He has a good company, a good solid company, but he's also been known to tweet things to tank the stock as well. So you really got to roll with it. There was a point in time earlier this year when the whole Dogecoin thing was really going off and he was on SNL. The stock had not been doing well at that point in time. These are things you're going to have to weather, and I think if you're going to go into Tesla, then you need to have a long-term market view, and I also think that you might want to consider, dollar cost averaging over time into the stock so you can take advantage of those lows. When I got into the stock last year, this is exactly what I did. I bought when it was low, I bought when it was high. I just kept buying. I think I put in just a little bit of money every 2 weeks, and it had been one of my highest performing stocks because obviously, again, one of those $1 trillion companies. Could it continue? I'm not here to tell you that it's going to get 1,500 or 2,000. I literally do not know. They could do another stock split for all I know. I have no clue, but I do know that from what we have right now today, it is a very good company. It's a solid company and still has room to grow. The good thing about the chip shortage, if you want to say that, is they've been able to meet demand. They've been able to navigate the chip shortage, and when this thing is over, and it will be, maybe in 2022, we hope, then they will do even better. They're kind of hampered in what they can do. And once you kind of remove that barrier, one would assume that you're going to sell even more, which tells me that it might still be a time to jump in. The only thing is, you still got Elon, and at the drop of a tweet, this whole thing can fall apart, at least temporarily. Regardless of the case, I still think it's a decent company. I think you can DCA into it. It's hard to say that any of these $1 trillion companies are not all that great. Now, Amazon is not performing all that well, but it's hard to see where the chinks are in the armor for Amazon. I don't see no scratches. I don't see any issues there. So those are my thoughts on Tesla. Let's switch over and look at PayPal and Pinterest. Today, I think it was a PayPal executive, I'm not sure who, but it was reported today that PayPal is not buying Pinterest. That's what they said. Now, some people can look at this and say, oh, they're just saying it just because they don't want to, I don't know. Some people just feel that way. Now, I did have one comment that said that this also happened with Amazon and Whole Foods. The Amazon came out and said that they're not buying Whole Foods. I could not actually find that headline, so I cannot confirm that. But I can tell you that when rumors and news come out, sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. A great example of this was a rumor about Amazon buying AMC. That did not happen, but that was a big rumor that everybody wanted to happen, that was reported on, and nothing actually happened. It did, or Amazon did end up buying MGM Studios, so there's that, but that was a year and some change after. The good thing is, at least from my perspective, I was more so excited about PayPal. I still think PayPal is still a good company with or without Pinterest. They would be better off if they have Pinterest. I think they would be major player if they had Pinterest, but if they don't, I still think they're not as good as Square, but still pretty solid. If I were holding for the long term, I think if you got PayPal because you thought that was going to happen and that's what we knew at the time, I would continue holding PayPal. I would hold it for an entire year because the last 6 months hasn't been all that great for PayPal, but I will hold it for the long term. I think they're still going to be fine. Their growth, their numbers, and what they do is still very, very good. Go back and check that video that I did with the assumption that they were going for Pinterest. Again, without Pinterest, they're still going to be fine. They're probably going to be a little better than fine. In fact, because they're not buying Pinterest, so says the headlines, the stock was actually up like 3%. So investors didn't really want them to buy Pinterest. When we say investors, that's just the market. I can't call why you wouldn't want to buy it, at least in my view. So we'll see what happens there. Pinterest, though, not looking all that great. I already told you guys about how their not the traffic, but one, we know that the Apple privacy issues have really hurt a lot of social media companies, including Snapchat. I don't think I talked about it on this platform, but we did talk about it on the podcast, the Flavor Podcast on Spotify. Me and Andre talk every week about the market. Aside from that, Apple introduced a new update that's going to allow you to opt out of a lot of these digital ads, which is where Facebook gets a lot of the money, which one of the many reasons why that stock has been a little down. But Snapchat dropped 27% in a single day after they announced earnings. Pinterest announces, I think, the first week of November, anywhere between November 4th and November 8th. One of those 2 days, those are the days that pop out. People aren't expecting this to be good. We know that their user growth their user engagement has dropped off just a bit. We know that because of the privacy stuff with Apple, they may not be able to track and get a lot of the revenue that they were expected to. So now you're not getting the PayPal, buy-in or acquisition, perhaps, we don't know. Then it's just probably not going to look good for Pinterest. At least that is the expectation as of today. Things could change. A month from now, a week from now, tomorrow. I don't know. By the time you watch this video, maybe PayPal already bought Pinterest. We don't know. Sometimes these things do happen. But those are the two biggest stories. Again, good news. If you got PayPal, my son owns PayPal, so we keeping it. In either case, I don't think PayPal is a bad company, so we're going to hold on to it. Anyway, if you got it because you thought they were buying it, you're probably still in a good position. You probably bought it really for a discount, if you ask me. There's no reason why PayPal should be down in the way that it is, based on what's going around in the company and based on where we are in the market with e-commerce and everything like that. So PayPal, still a good company. We'll see if they buy Pinterest or not. Tesla, an amazing company. I still think they have a little bit of room to grow as the chip shortage reduces or dissipates, however you want to say that word, and could be a great chance to DCA into both, if you ask me. But I'm really excited for Tesla and what they've been able to do, and excited to see where they go from here. All right, that is it for me. Let me know what you think about Tesla and PayPal and Pinterest and Hertz, and let me know in the comments. This is a big earnings week. I think Wednesday is the biggest day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know what companies you're interested in, and we can talk about those as well. I think Visa and Microsoft, I think they report this coming Wednesday. Definitely want to have my eye on Visa. I don't own it. I'm just really curious about it. All right, that is it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.